Hello friends, welcome to Life and Money Insights USA. Today's topic is lessons learned too late about saving and spending. This video is designed for beginners. It focuses on everyday money habits, common mistakes, and simple steps that many people in the United States wish they had understood earlier in life. This is a calm conversation, not a lecture. The goal is clarity. Many financial problems do not start with bad intentions. They start with small choices that seem harmless at the time. Imagine a young worker starting their first full-time job. They earn a steady paycheck. Bills are paid. There is food on the table. There is even a little left over at the end of the month. Everything feels fine. Saving feels optional. Spending feels earned. Years later, that same person may look back and realize how much time was lost. One of the earliest lessons people learn too late is that saving is not about leftover money. Saving is about priority. Many people believe they will save once they earn more. In reality, spending often grows with income. A bigger paycheck does not automatically create better habits. Here is a simple example. A person earns $40,000 a year. They spend nearly all of it. Then they earn $60,000 a year. Rent increases. At the end of the month, there is still very little left. The problem was never income alone. It was the habit. Did you know that many Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency without borrowing? This is not because they are careless. It is because saving was never treated as a fixed bill. A useful way to think about saving is to treat it like rent or utilities. It is not optional. It is scheduled. Even a small amount matters. $50 per paycheck builds a habit before it builds a balance. Another lesson learned too late is misunderstanding needs versus wants. This sounds simple, yet it is one of the hardest skills to practice. Needs are expenses required for basic living. Housing, food, transportation to work, insurance. Wants are everything else. Streaming services, dining out, frequent upgrades, impulse purchases. The challenge is that modern life blurs the line. A smartphone feels like a need. High-speed internet feels like a need. A newer car feels safer. Consider two neighbors with similar incomes. One drives a paid-off car. The other leases a new vehicle every few years. Over 5 years, that difference becomes $24,000. That money could have gone towards savings, debt reduction, or peace of mind. Pause for a moment and ask yourself this question. If your income stopped for 3 months, what expenses could you cut immediately? That answer reveals the difference between needs and wants. Spending mistakes often come from emotion, not math. Stress spending is common. Celebration spending is common. Boredom spending is common. These habits feel good in the moment. They feel expensive later. One real-life example is online shopping late at night. The day was hard. The purchase feels like relief. The credit card makes it easy. The bill arrives weeks later, when the feeling is gone. Waiting 24 hours before non-essential purchases reduces regret. The brain calms down. The urge passes. Many purchases never happen. Another lesson learned too late is the true cost of debt. Minimum payments are designed to look manageable. Interest is designed to be invisible at first. A balance of $5,000 at a high interest rate can take years to pay off, if only the minimum is paid. The total interest can equal or exceed the original purchase. This is not about blame. Credit is useful when used carefully. It becomes dangerous when used casually. Student loans are another area where lessons arrive late. Many borrowers focus on the monthly payment, not the total cost over time. A degree can be valuable. The debt must match realistic income expectations. What does my future paycheck look like compared to my future debt? Many people ask this question only after graduation. An emergency fund is one of the most basic tools. It protects against job loss, medical bills, car repairs, and life surprises. Without savings, emergencies turn into debt. With savings, emergencies become inconveniences. A common beginner mistake is believing emergencies are rare. In reality, they are predictable. Cars break down. People get sick. Hours get cut. These events are not failures. They are part of life. A basic emergency fund goal is 1 month of essential expenses. Just the basics: rent or mortgage, food, transportation, insurance. This goal is achievable for many people over time. Visualization Q here could show a simple bar chart comparing life with savings versus life without savings during an emergency. Another lesson learned too late is ignoring small expenses. Coffee, snacks, app subscriptions, convenience fees. Each one seems harmless. Together, they quietly drain cash. This does not mean eliminating joy. It means choosing it. Spending intentionally brings more satisfaction than spending automatically. If every small purchase had to be paid with cash from an envelope, would it still feel worth it? This exercise changes behavior quickly. Many people also learn too late that budgeting is not restriction. It is direction. A budget is simply a plan for money before it disappears. A beginner-friendly budget lists income first, then fixed expenses, then flexible spending. The order matters. Savings placed last often gets skipped. Budgeting tools vary. Some people prefer apps. Others prefer spreadsheets. Some use pen and paper. The tool matters less than consistency. One common mistake is creating a budget that looks good on paper but fails in real life. Unrealistic food costs. No allowance for fun. No buffer for mistakes. A good budget is honest. Does my budget reflect my real behavior or my ideal behavior? Adjusting the numbers builds trust with yourself. Another lesson learned too late is delaying retirement saving. Retirement feels far away. The numbers feel abstract. The urgency feels low. In the United States, many workers have access to employer retirement plans like a 401k. Some employers offer matching contributions. Compounding works best with time. Starting early with small amounts often beats starting late with large amounts. Visualization Q here could show 2 lines on a chart. The other starts later and grows faster, but never catches up. Even 10% of income invested early can change long-term outcomes. Waiting for the perfect moment often means missing the best one. Lifestyle inflation is another quiet trap. The raise feels gone within months. The mistake is upgrading everything at once without saving the difference. A simple rule is to save part of every raise before adjusting spending. This locks in progress. Many people also learn too late the value of tracking net worth. Net worth is assets minus debts. Tracking it once or twice a year shows direction. Is debt shrinking? Are savings growing? Is progress happening? This brings us to a gentle truth. Personal finance is personal. There is no perfect formula. There are patterns that work for many people. The beginner stage is about awareness, knowing where money goes. Understanding trade-offs, building small habits that compound. Let us pause for a quick recap. Debt has a long shadow. Emergencies are normal. Small expenses matter. Budgeting guides spending. Time is powerful. Money decisions are rarely about intelligence. They are about habits. Change happens slowly, 10 suddenly. 1 saved paycheck. 1 avoided impulse. 1 clear plan. In the next part, we will move beyond basics. We will explore deeper patterns, trade-offs, and how early decisions shape later outcomes. Part 2 continues the discussion on lessons learned too late about saving and spending. This section is designed for an intermediate audience. It builds on the basics and explores why these patterns repeat, how choices interact over time, and why many people feel stuck even when they earn more. At T stage, most people understand what they should do. The answer often lies in cause and effect chains that are not obvious in daily life. One major lesson learned too late is that money decisions rarely exist in isolation. Each choice connects to others. A higher rent affects savings. Higher savings affect stress levels. Stress levels affect spending behavior. This creates feedback loops. Consider housing, one of the largest expenses for U.S. households. Many people stretch their budget to live in a better neighborhood or a larger home. The monthly payment feels manageable on paper. What gets missed is the ripple effect. Higher housing costs reduce flexibility. They limit the ability to save. They increase reliance on credit during emergencies. Over time, this creates pressure. That pressure often leads to short-term spending choices that provide relief but worsen the situation. This is why financial stress can exist even at higher incomes. The problem is not the paycheck, it is the fixed obligations attached to it. A useful way to think about this is margin. Margin is the space between income and expenses. More margin means more options. Less margin means more risk. If one expense increased suddenly, where would the money come from? If the answer is credit or borrowing, margin is already thin. Another lesson learned too late is the emotional cost of debt. Debt is not just a math problem. It affects sleep, relationships, and career choices. People with high debt often avoid risks that could improve their income, such as changing jobs or relocating. They stay in situations that feel safe but limiting. Over time, this can cap earning potential. Debt taken on to improve life can later restrict it. Credit card debt is especially powerful in this way. The balance may look manageable, but the mental load is constant. Every purchase carries guilt. Every emergency carries fear. One intermediate level insight is understanding opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is what you give up by choosing one option over another. For example, spending $500 a month on a car payment means not investing that $500 over 10 years. The difference is not just $6,000 a year. Visualization cue here could show two paths. One path shows monthly car payments declining in value. The other shows the same amount invested in growing over time. This does not mean no one should have a car payment. Another common lesson learned too late involves comparison. People often measure their financial success against peers. Social media makes this worse. Vacations, renovations, new cars, dining out. These are highlights, not balance sheets. What is not shown is debt, stress, or lack of savings. Comparing outward lifestyle without knowing inward finances leads to overspending. Many people chase a standard of living that is borrowed. A helpful mindset shift is to compare progress, not possessions. Are savings growing? Is debt shrinking? Is flexibility improving? Intermediate learners also realize that income stability matters as much as income level. Two people earning the same amount can have very different financial lives. A salaried employee with predictable hours and benefits has a different risk profile than a freelancer with variable income. Both can succeed. Both require different strategies. Treating high-income months as normal can lead to trouble when income drops. This is a lesson many gig workers learn too late. Another area where lessons arrive late is insurance. Insurance feels like wasted money until it is needed. Many people choose minimum coverage to save cash, then the cost is overwhelming. It is about understanding risk exposure. Intermediate understanding also includes recognizing how taxes affect decisions. Take-home pay is what matters, not gross salary. Raises, bonuses, and side income can change tax brackets. Without planning, people are surprised at tax time. This often leads to frustration. The money felt earned. The bill feels unfair. The lesson is that planning reduces surprises. Many people intellectually understand it. Fewer practice it consistently. Delayed gratification is not about deprivation. For example, someone may value freedom over luxury. Saving for flexibility may matter more than a larger home or newer car. Clarifying values helps guide decisions. Without clarity, spending defaults to convenience and emotion. If money were removed from the equation, what would an ideal life look like in 10 years? That answer provides direction. Intermediate learners also notice that financial habits are often inherited. Family attitudes toward money shape behavior. Some people grow up in scarcity. Others grow up with stability. Neither mindset is right or wrong. Awareness allows adjustment. Understanding your money story helps explain reactions. It reduces shame. It increases control. Another lesson learned too late is the cost of ignoring paperwork. Bills, statements, fees, fine print. Lack of review allows mistakes to persist. A simple monthly review habit catches problems early. It takes minutes. It saves money. Visualization cue here could show a simple checklist. Review statements. Intermediate understanding also includes recognizing that financial progress is uneven. Some months go well, others do not. Many people quit good habits after setbacks. Progress is built over years, not weeks. Consistency matters more than perfection. One powerful concept at this stage is automation. Automating savings and bill payments removes decision fatigue. When saving happens automatically, willpower is not required. This increases success. Automation also reduces missed payments and late fees. Income changes. Another lesson learned too late is not negotiating. Many people assume numbers are fixed. Often, they are not. Negotiating once can change years of cash flow. This applies to rent renewals, internet bills, medical bills, and job offers. Intermediate learners also recognize that financial education is ongoing. Laws change. Flexibility matters. Saving and spending are not just technical skills. They are life management skills. They affect where you live, how you work, and how you handle stress. Let us pause for another recap. Margin creates options. Debt affects freedom. Opportunity cost matters. Comparison distorts decisions. Income stability matters. Insurance protects progress. Values guide spending. Automation builds consistency. In the next and final part, we will explore advanced insights. We will look at long-term consequences, compounding effects, and how small, early decisions shape decades. Part 3 focuses on advanced insights and long-term effects of saving and spending decisions. This section looks at how small choices compound over decades, how financial paths narrow or widen over time, and what many people only understand when options are already limited. At an advanced level, the biggest lesson learned too late is that time is the most valuable financial resource. Money can be earned again. Time cannot. Every financial decision is also a time decision. Saving early buys future time. Excessive spending today often trades future freedom for present comfort. Consider two people with similar incomes and skills. One builds modest savings early, the other delays, assuming there will be time later. 20 years pass. The difference is not just the account balance, it is choice. The saver can reduce hours, change careers, or weather disruption. The spender may need to keep earning at the same pace indefinitely. This is not about wealth, it is about leverage. Leverage is another lesson learned too late. Most people think of leverage as debt. In reality, savings are also leverage. Savings give you the power to say, no to bad jobs, no to unfair terms, no to panic decisions. Without savings, decisions are rushed. With savings, decisions are strategic. One advanced insight is understanding how fixed costs shape life trajectory. Fixed costs are expenses that repeat and are hard to reduce. Housing, car payments, insurance, long-term subscriptions. High fixed costs lock in future spending. They reduce adaptability. When income changes, fixed costs do not. This is why early choices about housing and vehicles matter so much. A slightly smaller home or a simpler car can create flexibility for decades. Visualization cue here could show two long timelines. One with high fixed costs and limited options. One with lower fixed costs and expanding options. Another lesson learned too late is underestimating compounding. Compounding applies to investments, but also to habits. A small savings habit started early compounds quietly. A small overspending habit compounds just as powerfully, but in the opposite direction. For example, carrying a modest credit card balance year after year does more than cost interest. It trains acceptance of debt. It normalizes financial drag. On the other side, regular investing builds confidence. It reinforces identity. Someone who saves consistently begins to see themselves as capable and disciplined. Identity matters. Advanced learners also recognize sequence risk. Sequence risk refers to when events happen, not just what happens. A job loss early in a career without savings can derail progress. The same event later, with savings, may be manageable. This is why early buffers matter even when income is low. They protect momentum. Another long-term lesson involves health and money. Poor financial habits increase stress. Chronic stress affects health. Health issues increase costs. Financial.com supports physical well-being. Money disagreements are one of the most common sources of conflict. When spending is unplanned and saving is absent, trust erodes. When goals are clear and progress is visible, cooperation improves. Advanced understanding includes aligning money systems with life stages. Early adulthood focuses on foundation. Midlife focuses on balance. Later years focus on preservation. Many people fail to adjust. They use the same habits regardless of stage. This leads to missed opportunities. Another lesson learned too late is assuming future energy will solve current problems. People often think they will work more later to catch up. Energy changes with age. Health changes. Family responsibilities grow. Relying on future effort instead of current structure is risky. Advanced learners also understand that not all growth is visible. Quiet progress matters. A growing emergency fund, increasing retirement contributions. These changes may not show externally, but they transform internal security. One powerful concept is optionality means having multiple acceptable paths. Savings increase optionality. High spending reduces it. Another insight involves risk concentration. Many households have all their risk in one place. One job. Diversifying income sources and keeping expenses flexible reduces fragility. This does not require complexity. It requires awareness. Advanced learners also see the cost of procrastination clearly. Delaying saving or debt reduction is expensive, not because of lost money alone, but because of lost learning. Early mistakes teach cheaply. Late mistakes cost more. This is why starting imperfectly is better than waiting for certainty. Let us move to actionable takeaways. These are educational insights, not personal advice. First, prioritize margin. Aim to increase the gap between income and fixed expenses. Second, lower fixed costs where possible. Flexibility compounds. Third, automate saving early and review it regularly. Fourth, track net worth over time to see direction, not perfection. Fifth, align spending with long-term values, not short-term emotion. Sixth, protect progress with basic insurance and emergency savings. Seventh, remember that habits compound, both good and bad. Here's a final summary of key points. Spending choices lock in future obligations. Compounding applies to money and behavior. Margin reduces stress and increases freedom. Lessons learned too late often share one theme. They were visible earlier, but felt unimportant at the time. Awareness today changes outcomes tomorrow. If you found it helpful, please like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment below. Your feedback helps us create more content like this. See you in the next video.